Hello, Nick.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for joining me today.
No, thank you for inviting me.
I have with me Nick Bhalesar from India Village Restaurant in Dundas, and I'm Judy Chapala with the Loft Realty. And I'm very pleased to get to know you a little bit more, Nick. I certainly have known you over the years. You've been very kind and given to our Seniors Day every year, which was really good of you.
No, it's always our pleasure to help out
Yeah.
as much as we can.
Yeah, thank you for that. I don't think we'll be having it this year, unfortunately, because it's in September, but because of I haven't heard back from the golf club. Anyway, that's not why we're here. So let me just start with India Village. How long have you been in Dundas and in Ancaster?
So Dundas we started in 2012 and Ancaster in 2007.
Okay, that's quite a few years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's time flies. So it's quite a lot of many years now that we've been in business. So
yeah, yeah. Are you just in Dundas? Or are you in both locations?
in both locations.
Right.
So
And are you the cook or the chef?
I'm the main chef, the executive chef. So I have my other sous chef back in Dundas. So I spend more time in Ancaster now because just we have a bigger kitchen, so I can do many of the major or the base sauces, so I can send them over to my sous chefs in Dundas.
Very
But
good.
then at the end of the night, I'm there in Dundas to help clean up, do whatever things need to do, some pre-prepping, and
Yeah,
then have a meeting with all the chefs, and then wind down. So
awesome. So you got through the well, we still have the pandemic. We kind of think it's well, we don't think, we know it's not over, but we sort of sometimes feel a little bit like it's a bit better than it was, although it's probably not. But you've gotten through that period of being closed down, all right then.
we did close for a little bit. We've shortened our hours in both locations, and but thanks to our customer base, our great customers, we didn't have to close for so long. So we've been lucky and still been offering takeout, delivery, curbside pickup.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've been there a few times. The food's fantastic. It's
Thank
just
you.
it has very good reviews. I mean, everyone that's ever been there loves it. So, and
Thank you.
is there a particular part of India that the food comes from?
So the majority of the recipes are from North India, but we do have some recipes that are from south part of India, Goa, a little bit of Mughlai, which is from the east part of India. So there is some diversity on the menu,
Right.
but majority is from North India.
And what is sort of special about that part of India in terms of the food? Like what makes it special?
The majority of many of the South Indian food, for example, in South India, the food is quite, it's a little bit on the more spicier side. There's a little bit on the bitter side, spicier side, where the North Indian cuisine is more aromatic, has milder to medium flavors. You can get it hot if you like also.
Yeah.
And also the North Indian cuisine is very popular among all over India and actually all over the world now.
Hmm.
Lo- Many of the people that have gone or have left India to, like for us, have come to Canada or have come to the UK, where UK were the first Indians that went abroad, went to the UK. So with UK being the national dish for UK is chicken tikka masala,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
past fish and chips.
Yes.
With that, all those flavors have come from the north part of India, and that's how all these people have come from north part of India. Majority of them at that time to set up their cuisine in UK or North America.
Very good. Yeah, I've been to, well, I'm from England. I've been to England many times, and it's always a popular dish is Indian food for sure. Has been for a long, long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, because the Indian food there, what happened was when majority of the pubs closed down, people were still hungry, right? So a lot of the Indian restaurants started opening till 3, 4 in the morning,
Yeah,
and also served beer and wine at that time too, right?
yeah.
So that's how it got popular among the locals.
Very good. And are you from a family of restaurateurs or chefs?
No, not at all.
How did you get started then?
It was a passion. I loved to cook right from young, as when I was a young boy, right? So, um, I went to university in Ottawa. I did IT. I worked in the government for many years, and then after I left the government and said, should I stay back or should I go with what I want to do. So that's when I started the restaurant. Always, all the recipes, majority of the recipes are all my recipes. So I tweak them every time there's different things come out. I try to tweak it. And the whole thing is, if you have a great palate, you could be a good chef.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you don't taste your food, then you're not a chef.
But you've got to have had some kind of a business plan going into it, because the restaurant business is not an easy one to stay in.
No, agree. When I first started, it was like, oh, the restaurant's great. You could do this, do that, right? Everybody thinks restaurants. So, when I first started, for the first month, it was an eye opener, because so many things that you don't think of when you first, even anything you put on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get in there and you see all these other things that make the restaurant, or can make it and break it, it opens your eyes to other avenues of what you need to do so you can at least succeed, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a constant, have to stay vigilant all the time, don't you?
The restaurant business, it's a tough business. Every business is tough, whatever business. But I think, as a business person, if you do not know the entire business scenario, right, and you have to rely on one person to do this, to do that, there's a good chance the business will fail. As an example, in many restaurants, you have the owner, which is just the front end, and then you have to hire chefs, which are the back end. So what happens if sometimes in this business, because it's a cutthroat business, one, it's very high stress levels, as you can see Gordon Ramsay when he gets on. Sometimes the chefs just get up and leave on a Friday night, Saturday night. And if you do not know how to take the reins over into the kitchen, your restaurant's closed with all the customers sitting outside.
Yeah, you have to know every part of it. You're absolutely right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm lucky because I've got great staff. Staff is what makes the business, right? My wife takes care of the front end in Ancaster. My sister-in-law takes care of the front end in Dundas. I've got great sous chefs in Dundas, and I've got some great helpers and staff and chefs in Ancaster also. So that's what keeps us going, and we try to provide a good product. I'm not going to say we're the best, but we try at giving you a good quality product all the time.
We have an excellent reputation, for sure. I know that. And can you tell me, with respect to the word curry, is that a spice or is it a dish? I know people get it all mixed up. At least I do all the time.
So curry is actually not a spice. A curry is a blend of spices. So there could be cayenne in there. There could be the Indian allspice called garam masala. There's cinnamon. There's so many different, turmeric. Everything's all together put into the spice.
Right.
So what happened was, when the British, when they came to India in the 1800s to do some trading, they wanted to trade spices. So at that time, the most expensive spice used to be cinnamon. So they wanted to pick up cinnamon, and then they started trading. But the biggest issue was, in India, when it gets hot, it's about 40 plus, close to 50 degrees. And the British at that time used to eat meat. India was predominantly vegetarian. It still is. Still, the majority is vegetarian. So they would go from place to place. They would have their meats, but it would spoil within the next day because it's too hot. So they were saying, if you ever noticed, where all the colder countries have milder foods, all the hot countries have spicier foods.
Yeah.
So what happened was, they put together a stew with vegetables, with meats, added spices, which help preserve also. So they took that stew, which is called curry, using curry leaves. That's where the word curry came from. So I used to take it all over to different places, and it would actually sustain for a longer period than just a half a day or a day because of the heat, right? As you know, when we do cure any kind of meats or something, we do use spices, right? Because it helps it cure and helps it preserve too. So that's where the word curry came from. Then the word just carried on all the way to the Far East.
Right. Because we talk about it as if it is a dish called curry, don't we, as well?
Yeah, curry. So basically, curry means stew, a spice stew.
Yeah, yeah, very good. Thank you for that. And do you have any plans for the future, like any goals, or are you planning on expanding, or are you pretty okay the way you are?
We're good for now. We expanded in Ancaster just a year and a half ago. So you the location we started out back in 2007 with 6 tables, and now we're up to about 18 tables in
Yeah,
Ancaster.
yeah,
So then Dundas came about because first of all, a lot of customers that were coming in from Dundas to Ancaster, we found they were excellent customers. Our Dundas customers are excellent. So I found this place on King Street and then opened Dundas. So then at least we can have both sides covered and have customers both sides. And they're happy that they don't have to go all the way to Ancaster and vice versa. So.
yeah, yeah. That's great. We've got some good restaurants in Dundas.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great place. When I first saw Dundas, it reminded me of like Niagara on the Lake without Niagara.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I like Dundas. It's all the stores are things that you can actually use. It's not just all
Yeah.
trinkets and souvenirs. Where
Yeah.
do you live?
I'm sorry?
Where do you live?
I'm in Ancaster.
In Ancaster. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Originally,
Okay.
when we moved to Ancaster because of the place when we opened in 2007. So,
Yeah. And what kind of things do you enjoy doing when you're not working, or do you have time?
well, time is really valuable for me because even on my days off, Mondays we close Mondays. I'm running around getting stock or going to the restaurant, making sure everything's running properly. And then once in a while, what we'll do, myself and my wife or our friends will go out for dinner or invite people for home. My wife's a great cook. So Jackie, she does a wonderful job of cooking. So that's one day when I don't have to cook anything. So that's what we do. Just try to relax, bring some friends over because when you're 6 days a week, it's very tough to have somebody come over to the restaurant to meet friends or family. So
Yeah. It's really been a labor of love by the sounds of it. Like you,
yeah, it is. Sometimes it does get frustrating.
but you could have stayed in a job that you were probably good at, but didn't particularly love, but instead you decided to take a
Yeah,
chance and do something that you
yeah,
really love. And
yes,
it's
I
worked out
agree.
for you, which is fantastic.
I agree. It is again, like I said, it's very. It does get on your nerves once in a while
Yeah.
when you're in the kitchen, especially when it was like this weekend when it was very hot.
Yeah.
So and then you have, I've pulled a Gordon Ramsay many a times in the kitchen. So, but then you know what? Everyone knows that it's that time period between that 4:30 till 7, 8, 8:30 when you want to get things ready and get it out to the customers so the customers are happy. And then after that, we're all back together. And plus, at the restaurant, we're all a big team. We're all a big family. So we all sit down together and eat. We have lunch. I provide lunch. I provide dinner for them.
Yeah.
And, so to me, they're all my family. They're all my kids.
And people are forgiving of the odd time you might go off the rails, I guess, because like you say, the stress is there, isn't it? It just is. And you're the man, as it were. So it's all up
Because
to you.
you have to make sure your customers are happy. You have to make sure that your staff is happy. You have to make sure that you're providing a good product.
Yeah.
The quality is there. The quantity is there, right? You can't. And one of the biggest concerns is that you don't want to get anyone sick, especially now with all these things that are going on.
Um, well, you got through that part of it anyway. So do you have any like particularly special dishes or ones that you're best known for, or people's favorite dishes?
So favorite, it's really cyclical. I've noticed that over the years. Like this year now, korma, which is a dish done with saffron and coconut,
Mm.
has a little bit of sweetness to it, but you can also get it spicy, right? It's quite popular. So we do a chicken, a vegetarian, beef, lamb, shrimp, whatever you like, right? And that one's gotten really popular. Another one which is really popular is the Punjabi tarka, which is like a traditional North Indian saute of onions and ginger garlic.
Hmm.
And again, you can get it with any protein or any vegetable.
And do people tend to order a dish and then share it amongst themselves?
Yes, that's usually what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a nice way to eat, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And what are your hours, Nick?
So right now we're open Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 12 to 2:30,
Mm-hmm.
and then from 4:30 till 8, and Sunday we open from 4:30 till 8.
And people can eat in the restaurant now?
No, not yet.
Not yet. When does that happen?
They're saying probably around July, but right now they've opened up the patios.
Right.
So we don't have a patio yet, but we're looking at it. Maybe we might put a patio in, but it's depending on. And Dundas might be a little bit difficult, but Ancaster we might be able to do it on the parking lot.
Because being on King Street's a bit awkward, isn't it, to try to use any of the space on the road there.
Especially because I don't think, they'll allow it with on the sidewalk, but my issue is this, that especially with all the foot traffic there, right? With the, it's going to be tough for everyone to walk back and forth, right? So that could be dangerous if they do that on King Street. I know King William, they did it already they just shut down all of King William completely.
Yeah. And Westdale, you see some restaurants there sort of spilling over into the parking spaces, I guess, but they've got wider streets and not as much foot traffic either.
That's right. So we have to be worried in Dundas. Okay. But I think as long as people are doing takeout, curbside delivery, I think right now it's a 50-50 mix. Some people don't want to go out. Some people want to stay. Some want to just do takeout. So.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten used to our ways now, but it'll be nice to go back to being able to go into a restaurant. That's for sure.
That's going to be, it's going to be quite different, I think, once that restaurant.
It'll be fun for everybody, won't it?
Yeah, and I don't know how customers are going to perceive when you see somebody coming wearing a mask or wearing somebody that looks like Darth Vader, right?
I know. It's still very odd to go out in public and see people wearing masks all over the place. It just.
Think about even in the banks, when you go into the banks not wearing a mask. If you had done that last year, the police would have been there right there to arrest you.
I know. It's just insane. Well, Nick, I really appreciate your time today. It was lovely to get to know you a little bit more. And Nick of India Village, I'll have your contact information showing up after the video. But it was really lovely to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Judy. And you're doing a wonderful job of doing this, putting this together, bringing the business to the forefront, especially now when everyone does need it.
Yeah.
And, really appreciate it.
No problem. My pleasure. All right. Okay. You take good care, and I'll talk to you again sometime.
Thank you. You take care, too.
Okay. Bye for now. Bye-bye.